one, of course, and we are casting the #1 region here.
Of course
right?
we are, Jonathan. We're the #1 casters.
Absolutely. So, as #1 casters, we should be able to get a best of 3 that goes 3 games. We'll see if 5RAT are up to it. And this should be a pretty interesting one, because, I mean, Arc has some ways of just being this big hitter, right? He doesn't need to go Battle Fury. He's got Sunlight, who can rotate in and give some Empower, and just allow him to farm up that way. They've got ways of reaching that Lina, the Rubik, and the Tusk opening. Most common ways to deal with Lina here in NA. So I'm keen to see just how much DNM can get out of his lane. But you also go back to Comfort for 5RAT. You go into Dominant Sky, which had a pretty decent time last time. It did feel like 5RAT did have a strong early game to mid game.
Yeah.
Just kind of slowing down, and Arc just managed to farm. You could see the same story here. Again, the panel pointed out, with the Magnus on hand, Arc should look for a faster build-up. Something like Diffusal, and just have the Empower around and run people down fast. But again, if it stalls out, we've seen Arc, he's very capable of making these item choices. His team is able to play behind him really well. And if this game kind of repeats itself from game 1, that could be where it just all boils down to. Just who coordinates better as a team. There's a lot of play and counterplay from both sides here.
Yeah, thank you for that, John. And by the way, for the people watching, we're very well aware we're not the #1 casters. I'm aware John weighs us down.
Psst. If you say so, Mike. You know, whatever helps you sleep at night.
Sorry, John.
Whatever helps you
I
sleep.
have to save my ego. Jonathan, leave me alone. Mid lane. The Tiny versus Tusk matchup. It feels like every second game we're seeing Tusk. In fact, this is the second game we've seen Tusk so far today. Babbage this time to take it. Kits will be on that mid Tiny. John, who has the advantage in this mid lane matchup?
We've kind of seen Tiny just out-damage here by pure virtue of tree grab being obnoxious toss back plays as well. Once you're level 3 with Avalanche Toss ready, there is some threat. Tusk can kind of dodge out with Snowball, so it's not the simplest aspect for Tiny, but I do feel like Tiny tends to get a little bit more out of that lane. Ooh,
Yeah.
Flea.
Talk about getting a lot out of the lane, John. Here, Flea already securing first blood onto Albino Zebra, and that's something you never really want to see if you are a 5RAT fan. The Rubik off to a fantastic start, and it was literally just right-click harassment into a Fade Bolt. That's all he did.
Yeah, that's the one thing with Treant. It doesn't have the most armor. Once you are committed on, it doesn't feel great. They also cut off the tree line. And just having that quelling, constantly spamming it on that right side of the lane, you don't really have an area to play for Albino Zebra. So that's the one tough thing about Treant. If your enemy does just cut your tree line, your laning phase can kind of get slower. At least DNM isn't being affected by this. He is still farming pretty good, which is really all you want from this lane for Lina. You can kind of tie into aggression once Nature's Grasp is up, but keeping someone like Sunlight down is pretty tough. Once he does have the skewer back, so locking him in is a tougher call, and even if you find Flea, it's not the biggest deal in the world.
Bottom lane, Samson's going to drop now. Stominant able to kind of do the same thing Flea just did. Secures the +5 kill basically on his own. And, well, this Mirana, obviously level 1, doesn't have the leap available, so could not get away from it.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a slower start in both of the safe lanes here with the supports. You are still getting decent farm from Arc. I say decent, it's not the greatest start with the first 2 waves. So Speed's doing a fantastic job on that Death Prophet to just kind of control that lane. And that's the key aspect. If you can keep Arc down, you delay his early times. He's still queuing up the Battle Fury with Magnus around. I guess realistically, the Magnus isn't going to be following you every time for Empower. That does mean you're looking for that slower pace. And if we saw Wildcard kind of play in game 1, and it's one thing to do that with a Terrorblade, it's another thing to do that with an Ursa up against a Lina. So that could throw things off kilter. And I think that's, again, just going against what the panel said. I mean, they expected maybe that change in itemization. Arc's just looking to play a long game again.
Yeah, no surprise the panel was wrong once again here, John. Honestly, Arc, he's playing the way I would play, right? Because...
Oh boy, wow.
What?
The way you'd play it.
Yeah, because I don't trust my Magnus to chase me around empowering me, and quite frankly, I hate playing Magnus these days because that's what my carry expects. And then they question why I don't have farm. Because I've been following your dumbass around, empowering you over and over again, Mr. Pos1. That's why. Buy a Battle Fury. It's not that hard.
We'll see if it pays off for Arc. I mean, you still have some decent timings with Battle Fury BKB. Roche is still pretty big with just the Battle for You up, so you can kind of get that done. Again, it's just worrying considering this start for Mark, he's half the CS of Sunlight. He is less than half the CS of DNM. So it's a lot more effective for speed in shutting down Arc, and again, just going for the slower build.
Mid lane, Sammy, it's a nice rotation. Takes the water in away, and kids, he cannot survive through it. Very nice rotation there from Sammy Boy. Didn't even bother throwing out an arrow throughout that engagement.
You don't need it. You've got the magical damage on hand. Just a little bit for the Storm. Level 5 for Babatic does a lot of damage.
Arc almost drops. I suppose he did have the Fairy Fighter to be able to survive through it anyway, so he'll be just fine. But he is struggling in terms of CS. Like, you compare the CS right now at this bot lane. Speed has got 28 and 13. Arc has got 8 and 0.
Yeah, that's where, again, this laning matchup is a lot better for Speed now, and it just kind of brings into question, how quick can you really find that Battle Fury? How quick can you really farm? Are you still going to have a tier 1 once that Battle Fury comes out? Probably not. Speed's just looking to be aggressive here with Dominant around as well. Just applying huge pressure. Tree range creeps up. TP out from Babatic though.
Dominant's in trouble as well. Arc, he's being chased down. Speed does not give a crap. He wants the kill. Babatic gonna try and trade, but neither side goes down. Arc still, he's having such a rough game already. This Ursa, 11-0, needs some space to be made. But we are still only 5 minutes in, and the fact that Babatic has to rotate this early on, like he doesn't even hit the level 6 mark. So he has to go back to the mid lane now, try and hit level 6. In the meantime, of course, there has been a lot more farm going on here with Kits on the Tiny. And it just seems like Wildcard, they've got no lanes going their way.
No, their lanes are off to a way slower start. And it just kind of ties into the timing that Wildcard will want to hit as well. We heard a panel talk about the mech timing for Sunlight. He is looking to work into that itemization. He does not have any point in the Empower, so at the least they're coordinating with Arc, knowing that he does want Battle Fury. You don't bother with Empower here, you just go for your wave clear, your relocation, and try to hope for the best there. They are chasing Albino Zebra.
Nice little shards there from Babatic, just going to block the way. Albino, I mean, he's a tanky boy with the living armor. Maybe he could hope for Roshan to deny him off. He's still going to try. Babatic, though, no. Going to body block him off, and Flea will get the job done. That'll make it a 3-2, the way of Wildcard. And I suppose the one saving grace is Flea's been having a very good time with this Pos 4 Rubik. Only problem is, it's a Pos 4 Rubik.
Yeah, and you lost Arc in that rotation as well.
Oh.
5RAT found that opening down bot. And Speed's very happy. Just again, pinning down that Ursa. It's been a really slow start. 15 CS at 6 minutes in. Not a good look when you don't have the Magnus to really fall back to. Well, level 1 Empower's at least up. So you have something to use, but again, Speed's just off to a running start. Has the Exorcism up. Arc's still level 4, and they're making rotations in already.
They are. Kit's not going to find much for his trouble here. He's rotated. They know he's there. Sammy's going to stick around, trying to defend the tier 1. Meanwhile, topside, DNM does get lifted up, so they're going to try and find something for their trouble. Skewer back, DNM does land the Light Strike Array, and Sammy's off the mark with the arrow, which means DNM's just going to TP out. And that's why you always save a stun.
Yeah, it doesn't quite line up. And they managed to clear the bot tier 1 off that with all the rotations up top. DNM still safe farming in his jungle. Everything's lining up for 5RAT. Just maybe a little bit reminiscent of game 1. The early game did look to really favor 5RAT. The issue now is follow through. Because we know what Arc can do if he does get a lot of free space. This time around, Speed isn't leaving that lane. He's not relenting. He knows he has to keep Arc down if they want to force that game tree. Lots of heroes mid here from Wildcard. DD up on Babatic, so they could melt a hero down if they find the angle in. But you've got some good wards from 5RAT. You've got a good ramp ward to just ensure that they have an idea of where some of these supports might want to rotate. Lines are being drawn down bot. Speed is solo here if they do manage to work something out.
They'd love to find Speed if they could. Like, this guy's just so farmed at the moment. 4.5k net worth here on Speed. And look at him just bullying Arc. He's just not leaving the Ursa alone. I can't believe he can just get away with this. Wildcard, instead of trying to head down into the mid lane, Kids is going to get hit by a snowball into the walrus,
What?
but the arrow's
What?
off the mark. Woo, that's I've had that experience, and let me tell you, Sammy's team is reacting a lot better than I would if that was me.
Well, it's one thing when you miss it, Mike. It's another thing when a pro team does. So, different layers of expectations here. This time around,
No,
What?
no,
No, that's 3 in a row.
No, kids, he's still gonna drop, but you sacrifice Babbage for that.
Ah, that's just nasty. You know, it's
Nasty
not
from who?
it's not Sammy's fault, but at the
It's
same
not-
time,
Whose fault is it, John?
the game.
Oh, the game.
game's fault. You
Okay.
can only blame the game, Mike. Don't blame the player. Still, I mean, you miss 3 in a row in ganks like that. It's not a good feeling. Wildcard, positive here is maybe stalling out for Arc. And he does kind of get Sunlight to follow him through. Anyway, level 3 in power,
Here
so
we
you
go
can clear
again.
out some stacks. Hello.
This time? Okay, this time they've got it. The arrow will land. Onto the tiny they go, kids. On a run. Is going to be able to survive the living armor, making him just a little bit too tanky with all that bonus armor. And with that, Wildcard won't be able to secure the tiny kill. But they are still trying to give Babbage as best of a game as possible. Hand over the haste rune to the Tusk. And still they are in the lead, but my main concern if you are Wildcard is the fact that Speed and DNM are both kind of getting out of control.
Yeah, their farm build-ups there. You're hitting the early durability item for Speed, almost at those Guardian Greaves. Again, the positive here for Wildcard is Arc is not under pressure. Battle Fury in 2 parts, has the Empower. He's just kind of playing where Sunlight's trying to farm the lane as well. So they're kind of allowing him to get that build-up into the Battle Fury. Which is nice, but at the same time, Battle Fury, again, it's something that you still need more on top of. So we'll see how soon Arc will want to try for a play on, say, Roshan is the key timing there for the Ursa. Grouping up top, Alpino Zebra's the only one to kind of defend with the living armor.
And they saw him. Babbage won't go for the dive in. A little bit hard to catch that Train Protector in that tree line. Meanwhile, Speed's pushing in the mid lane, so you've got to make a choice. Do you want the top tier 1 tower, or do you want to defend the mid tier 1 tower? They're going to move Babbage in. Snowball is there, backing onto Kids. They'll try to secure the tiny kill first. Kid's still pretty healthy, so he will just walk away. Flea, no, eventually does fine. So they do get the tiny kill. Speed, however, is going to be okay to back off, but Sunlight gets a nice RP off. They do find the Death Prophet. Still, Speed is tanking through it very effectively as he goes right back in, but now the Snowball going to go right back the way of the Death Prophet. Can they take down Speed? He is still healing up with these Spirit Siphons. They cannot deal with the man. He is alright.
They do lose kits. You feel pretty good about that on Wildcard's end, and you prevent your mid from falling. So overall, a very successful defense out. You managed to get a really good steal from Flea. He did manage to take that Exo himself, so he's fully healed up. Regen rune though, does go DNM's way at the least.
Babbage, bottom lane. Snowball is there, but the Spirit Siphon's still going, and Speed will secure another. This DP just so tough to deal with.
Yeah, it's just durable. Way too durable right now. Guardian Greaves not too far off now as well. And again, for Wildcard, they are going for the long con here. Arc clearing out a good amount of triangle stacks. Ancients being cleared out now. Battle Fury very close. So the farm should just accelerate from here on forward. And he is climbing up in the net worth charts after a really rough lane up against Speed. For 5RAT, the one change we need to see in this game is pressure onto Arc, right? Because game 1, they just allowed Arc to free farm. Same thing is kind of shaping up here. Still fairly early at 13 minutes, but they need to kind of clear out this mid-tier 1 and start to get some forward wards, apply pressure, ensure that this slower build is punished from Arc, because he had a lot of potential to play a little bit quicker with the mag, and he's just going to go farming. It will pay off in the long run. 5RAT cannot afford to kind of get into that long run game. Although with Alina, perhaps you feel a little bit more confident. It's still a risk.
Both teams just kind of poking and prodding the mid lane. It's going to be a smoke up. Looks like Kits and Stomin are going to try and move together. So they have great burst potential with that Mystic Flare with the Avalanche Toss combination. Speed just going to frontline, more than happy to try and bait for his team. Has the full Greaves up, and just wants the tier 1 mid tower.
Ooh, Arc.
Uh-oh. Yeah, they've got the Ursa. That's the one you want. Sammy tries to help with an arrow, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough. The cavalry is incoming. They'll try to find some form of a trade here. At least catching the Skywrath, and now with the RP, they've got speed, but he is way, way, way too tanky. That is not the target you want, and now kids. Great avalanche. Sammy's gone. Babadich is gone to boot. 5RATFORCESTAFF, making it look very easy so far for game number 2.
And they find the big kills they need. They clear that mid tier 1. And that should allow them to apply that constant pressure onto Arc now. I mean, Arc's got the Battle Fury. The farm can build up. And they do have defensive wards around that bot jungle at the least. So that movement out from 5RAT shouldn't be repeated. At the same time, really great foresight from 5RATFORCESTAFF. They get that blink timing up on kits. They just move around as a unit with Stominin. And this is a very low cooldown combination, so they can just constantly do that. Smoke out from Wildcard here, though. Under vision, 5RAT is.
That they are. Storm in good position to break the smoke. And we'll just go down. Slowly but surely. Still, if you are Wildcard, that's not really the kill you want. On the brighter side, it does allow you to take back the Radiant jungle, so there's that. But they will not find themselves a primary target, and I hate to continue repeating myself, but DNM and Speed are both freely farming this whole time.
Yeah, they're building up. Maelstrom already up on DNM, along with a Dragonlance. He can hit pretty damn hard if he does decide to join in these fights. And Speed's just ultra durable, going for the Heaven's Halberd, or at least just Sange first. He's going to have a way of just being even more durable up front. They don't really have the burst damage here on Wildcard to kind of take care of him, unless they can just chain stun him and get a good amount of Fury Swipes built up with Arc. That is probably their best bet. Even just a zip in from Babadich is just not enough with the Tusk as it is right now. Speed's just too tanky, as we've seen time and time and again. They are still kind of getting a good amount of space out for Arc, though, and he is farming quite nicely. The wards from 5RAT not really there. They do manage to get a triangle ward down now, and they are securing that area around Roche. They're kind of baiting in. They are scanned out, so Wildcard knows something is up, but they should know it's a gank attempt because they check Roche.
Wildcard just holding their ground here in this mid lane. Very patient is the side of 5RAT. Waiting for that perfect opportunity to make a jump in and just fight underneath their own vision. Hoping someone farms the triangle on that Radiant side. And instead, it's time to force Roshan. It just happens so quickly as well, because you've got that level 2 Exorcism plus DNM who's very farmed up right now. There's really no stopping it. Sammy's going to move in to try and D-ward, but he's just going to get blown up immediately. Ward gets protected, Courier goes down as well, and Roshan's gone. DNM will take the Aegis.
Yeah, and they play really defensively on Wildcard. They didn't want to go around that area. After checking Roshan, it was empty. They probably figured maybe a smoke gank was coming out. Cost them a Roshan in the end.
Are they trying to speed? Alright, let's see if they can find it. RP committed. There's your Exorcism wearing off. Speed will go down very quickly thanks to the RP setup, but here comes the cavalry. Stominin gets set up with the slow into the toss back. The Mystic Flare kind of wasted, but it may not matter. Arc dropping so low on the Ursa, but somehow he is still running, still getting out of here, but Stominin's on the chase. They'll settle for Sunlight. The concussive shot goes back the other way. Arc, he will survive.
Ooh, on the edge there for Arc. Very fortunate for the side of Wildcard that they only dropped their mag after finding Speed. The toss back just kind of cost them, right? Like they wanted that group up, they wanted to clump them around for the overgrowth, but just not having that Mystic Flare damage on Arc cost them that opportunity. And Arc is itemizing quite well, going for the BKB. That combination is not going to do much to him. Once he has that fresh BKB with 9 seconds on that charge, it's going to be a lot tougher for 5RAT to focus in on the Ursa. Does feel like that's going to be more on DNM to get done with his right clicks, but they're not the beefiest yet. Orlina is still a little bit more set up to farm, although the machine gun is kind of building up. Smoke out from Wildcard this time.
Oh, they might run into Stominin. Breaks the smoke. Shards off the mark. They're checking Roshan pit instead, but it won't matter. They eventually find it. I still think Stominant, very good positioning. He just constantly breaks the smokes of Wildcard, and look what's happening bot lane. DNM's just forcing in the tier 2 tower. That'll be the glyph to be forced out. Sammy's the only one around to try and force this defense. So DNM, he is not backing off. He knows. Thanks to Albino Zebra, he's got the info, though he does cop an arrow. But it won't matter. Nobody's around to capitalize off these arrows. And eventually, the tier 2 bottom tower might just go down.
Yeah, no contest coming up from Wildcard. They're opting to kind of take that top jungle while they can. A nice objective take for 5RAT. Should open up some pressure on the lanes. They are starting to group together though. They have a rough idea that Wildcard's kind of playing their jungle. They don't have defensive vision, but they have been missing. Ooh.
This is the Avalanche kits. Or rather, a quick blink away here from Babadich. But now a 9-9, 2k advantage still standing for 5RAT. Of course, they did hold a large advantage in that earlier game, and we did see them kind of throw it back the way of Wildcard. Wildcard being super patient, trying to wait for that opportunity to kind of make a repeat performance here in game 2. It's mid lane. They might have a chance now as they do need to defend. Problem is there is an Aegis still up on DNM, which is going to make it rather tough. In they go. Tossback is there. They found the Tusk Babadich. He's still running. He might know. He doesn't make it. They even found the Magnus, so Sunlight is gone. There goes Sammy. They are just getting blown up in that mid lane. There's nothing they can do about it.
They at least find this kill on Kits. Arc just managing to focus in on him and melt him down. But they sacrifice a lot, and that should open up this tier 2 push coming out with the EXO running. DNM, his damage is pretty much set. He's almost at the Gleipnir now as well, so even more control coming out. And the map is shrinking for Wildcard. It just goes back to Arc needing so much space with a Battle Fury. It does take time for the Ursa to kind of hit that critical mass. BKB Blink is the timing. BKB's almost there, and that does throw off the combination of 5RAT to an extent. But DNM's still going to have the right click and the range to kind of counteract Arc unless they can get on top of that Lina, which is easier said than done. Does feel like there's a lot of pressure on Sunlight and on Flea. Maybe look for a lift back or skewer back along with the RP for control. And 5RAT, solid 5k lead for them. Most of that riding on DNM. Everyone else kind of equally farmed for the most part, at least. So there is still play here for Wildcard. Eventually, your Ursa will eventually just be big. BKB up. Doesn't have a gap closing measure yet, so the Blink's still pivotal here, but 5RAT just chasing down. They have control.
Speed literally doesn't care. He just doesn't care. He walks up high ground, no vision. Understands he's just too hard to kill at the moment. Wildcard still 4k behind. Not out of this game number 2 yet. Again, they were behind in the first game after all, so they could easily make a comeback. And there is going to be a 4-man smoke. They're going to try something. Moonlight Shadow popped as well. They'll run into that mid lane. Flea trying to bait. Does drag back Speed. Again, he's not an easy target. You've got to commit so much to take down Speed on this Death Prophet. You'd rather hold on to the RP if you can from Sunlight. Wait for a bigger team fight. Lines being drawn out into that dire jungle, but the only person they're probably going to find is Albino Zebra. DNM's already backed off. Still trying to find somebody. DNM is around the corner if they can. They do see the courier of Albino Zebra, but that's not the target they want. And they're barely going to miss out on vision on DNM as well. Babadich, meanwhile, mid lane. He's going to get jumped. Kits is there. Avalanche tossback is out. Stominant silences him up, and with the Mystic Flare, Babadich has no chance. This is such a rough game. 5RAT, they adjust the draft in game 2, but they maintain the map reading that they've been doing, right? They read the map very well against Wildcard. And it's just so hard for Wildcard to maneuver and find anything for their trouble.
And it's just down to what the choices Wildcard made. They go for the Ursa that wants to play a bit slower. The Siege just comes in from 5RAT with the DP plus Lina. Doesn't take too long to melt these objectives. They still have an RP play. They've got the Blink here. on Sunlight if he does manage to find the angle.
Sunlight, nice horn toss into the skewer back, into the RP as well. Just really wanting DNM. He barely survives. Staff away, but Ark gets the job done. They even found Albino Zebra. Maybe they can keep this one going. Stominant, he at least finds Sammy Boy in the meantime, but his team is falling apart. Speed, drag back as well. The Magnus saving the day for Wildcard. As Speed still trying to back, but hold on a minute. Ark's getting low. Ark might drop. Ark barely able to get out of there. Speed getting Warriors punched up. Still trying to chip away at the Death Prophet, but he's just so darn tanky. A snowball forward, a skewer back from Sunlight. Speed is not getting out this time. And there it is, Jonathan. Wildcard, they have found the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, they get that relocation play out onto the Lina. DNM doesn't have anything defensive, so the moment the Magnus commits, it kind of goes downhill fast. Really big overgrowth steal from Flea as well. And that follow-up control really pinned down DNM after the RP, because he didn't quite die at that moment. And they just managed to clean up from there. Like, they commit a couple of buybacks, but it does pay off in the end. Their high ground holds, the racks are intact. For 5RATFORCESTAFF, they lose a little bit of that lead. You know, we're seeing Ark just rush in now in that worth. And the itemization, again, it's just lining up. Guardian Greaves going to come out in Sunlight, boost up that durability for Wildcards, and BKB for Babitic. Still 2 parts away, but not too far off from at least the Mithril Hammer. And just wait for the recipe next. For 5RAT, they need something defensive on DNM. Like, he's fully kitted out, Travels up, Hurricane Pike, Leipnir, but a BKB has to come out. At the least, you can block off the Horn Toss and Skewer back, force the Ursic to go a little bit more forward in trying to kill off that Lina, and that provides a little bit of a safety net for 5RAT to kind of look to play around him. Easier for Albino Zebra to reach in with the Overgrowth if he's not dragged away on DNM. And you can just kind of look for maybe the toss back plays, be disruptive. For Wildcard, they kind of need to just keep doing that. If DNM's a little bit too far forward, feeling overconfident, you've got the tools to punish. You've got the damage on hand.
They do. Wildcard now grouping up once again. Albino Zebra, he's the one on the Roshan pit at the moment. Do they want to settle for the Treant? It seems like they will. Roshan still 35 seconds away from respawning. We'll see if they can find anything else here for Wildcard before they do try to force the Roshan fight. Tier 1 mid tower is still standing after all, so they may as well. Ark will get to it. Meanwhile, rest of the team will move in. They have found the Death Prophet. Babitic does get the Warrior's Punch. Still Speed. He cops an arrow to the face. Can he get out of this one? He's healing up. An RP though. Sunlight. He'll catch a couple. DNM's one of those targets. But DNM, he'll force stuff out of there. Back to the low ground. Maybe they're okay, but no, the snowball. DNM. He is not going to make it. Can they at least punish Wildcard? It seems like they'll try. Ark will just TP out though. Oh, just TP.
Yeah, they don't have control. The moment that fight unfolds, they get a good jump once more. They punish DNM for not having too much defensive. He manages to force staff away. They still maintain vision, snowball down, and he just melts. 5RAT need to do everything they can to defend DNM in the middle of these fights, but they don't have the most saves on hand. And the saves coming out from Toss, just having this ability to snowball the Ursa forward, to catch out the Lina once more. The damage not quite fully flowing yet from DNM, not having that silver edge up for a little bit more crit and damage. It does allow the Ursa to just do what it does best. And I like that Ark is going for the Basher next, just additional control on hand. 16 to 16 with the game evening up. Roche going to be the focal point for both sides now. And you do have the respawns on 5RAT at least, so they can look to play inside. Overgrowth's a little bit longer though, and that spell's really key to a lot of these team fights, but they can't allow this Roche to go for free.
Oh, Ark's going to take it very quickly. They've got to get in somehow. Kids is there with the blink if he wants to try and make a maneuver in. He'll get a bit of vision with the tree toss. Speed will frontline for the side. Still Ursa going after that Roche. Ark not giving up a DNM, stunning him from the outside as they lift him in. DNM!
Oh!
Albino Zebra! He takes the Aegis away! Oh! They lift him in! Was that Flea? Oh, it was Flea!
Oh boy.
They lifted him into the Roshan pit!
Yeah, I don't think that Treant's the best target to lift in there, unfortunately.
I think it was D&M they lifted, but regardless, it's when the Roshan's that low, John, I think you might be doing them a favor.
Yeah, it's a risky play. And to be fair for 5RAT, I mean, it's more about denial of Aegis. I don't think you're going to be doing much with an Aegis up on Albino Zebra.
Look at this. Look at this. What's happened here? So Kits jumps in. There's the lift back. D&M got lifted. Albino Zebra just blinks in himself. Very, very strange Roshan fight there from Wildcard. And in we go. Into the mid-racks they go. Speed. Kits. Avalanche toss is there. Flea will be the one to get caught. Leibniz will lock him down. Still the Rubik is running, but instead they'll take down Sammy Boy. Meanwhile, Kits dropping very low, but so is Babbage on that mid-tusk. Trying to run, but Speed will chase him down to the ends of the earth. Ark cannot fight without his team. He'll get stunned up. In goes Sunlight. The 4-star forward. They have messed up again. D&M's gone. Oh, this mid-racks. It is torturing the side of 5RAT. As they'll move in with a snowball now. Can 5RAT continue to punish? Ark, he'll move in onto Kits. That'll be your mid-tiny gone. It's up to Speed on the Death Prophet, but Speed's getting bashed up. He'll chase down Babbage on that tusk, but can he really do it? I don't think he can. He'll get lifted up. They are still snowballing around. Speed's the only one left. Oh my goodness. And the worst part is the guy with the Aegis is the guy that survives. Albino runs out of there.
That's why I guess Wildcard didn't mind too much. Sure, they take a couple of losses in Roche, but Aegis on Albino Zebra just doesn't accomplish much, and they get a bit hasty. They chase for these kills behind the racks. They get punished for it. They don't respect that pullback that Wildcard does have. They commit only onto D&M with the RP, but that's the only target you really need. You take care of the Lina, everything else is easy to manage. And there's just not much saves in 5RAT. And it's just so difficult for 5RAT to siege in when they keep committing this way. They need to have a little bit more patience here. Otherwise, Wildcard, one more repeat like that, and this game could probably be theirs.
And a reminder, John, this game of ours is brought to you by our partners, esportsbets.io. The odds 1.5 to 2.3 here in the favor of 5RAT. But this is the second game in a row where it felt like 5RAT were the better team. But once you hit that 20-30 minute timing, they just start to fall apart.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit? It reminds me of watching old Polaris on high ground.
Oh.
They'd have this massive lead. They have everything they want. Their laning phase goes really well. And then for some reason, the high ground just falls flat. Maybe over-aggressive. Sometimes not aggressive enough. And they get punished. I think that's something... 5RAT 2 times in a row. Third time's the charm, right? Maybe they figure out, all right, we just focus in on the objectives. We stand really far back. Don't have D&M chasing down these supports when you can't see the Magnus, or when the Magnus might have buyback to come back in, and play it safe. Just go for the siege. Go for the objectives. That's what Dota's about. It's defense of the ancients, not killing the heroes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some games it is. SCA Dota it is.
Well, I mean, you can kill as much as you want, but if you can win a 43-0 game somehow, then what do the kills mean?
Right. Fair point, John.
I mean, it's not like you'll win a 43-0 game, to be fair, but...
I mean, you know, could happen. You never know. 5RAT. 4-man smoke, but there's a 5-man smoke. Both teams want to fight. This is what we love to see. Where's it going to happen, though? Seems like 5RAT. They do back off for now. They'll wrap back around through their own triangle. Wildcard will go the exact opposite way. Mirroring each other's paths. It's all about fighting around that tier 2 tower. Speed. Gonna show himself in that mid lane. Wildcard. Do they want to force the fight? It doesn't feel like it. Feels like they'll go address the lanes instead.
Yeah, I think you really want to wait for that BKB on D&M. Like, at least not being skewered back is already a pretty big part. You force the RP on yourself, fine, you're still maybe dead. But not being... removing the possibility of being brought back definitely means that you've got more shots at living. Because that's what's been killing D&M on that high ground. Just the skewer back from Sunlight. He's been setting up for his team quite well in this match. On the side of 5RAT, they're 3k behind, 33 minutes in, not the biggest deal.
Mid lane, oh, bot lane, Arc. Kids is looking for a tossback perhaps. There's an avalanche, but Arc, very quick, impact flee. He'll jump in with the lift, but the Force Staff is there from Stominant. Arrow, not gonna land, Kids will just wait it out. It's kind of an interesting dynamic here, John, because Wildcard are the ones in the lead now. But 5RAT are still the ones that are being much more aggressive, and Wildcards are the ones that it almost feels like they think they're behind.
Yeah, I think they just understand the riskiness of losing a fight. Up against a lineup that 5RAT has, they could easily just end with buybacks committed. So you just have to be really cautious about how you start these fights, who you catch out. Because either way, if 5RAT does manage to slip through with DNM and with speed, Ancient's just kind of open. You could just try to skip racks, go for tier 4s, and force an endgame if you were feeling that confident from 5RAT. They've got the damage for that.
Yeah. Well, Wildcard, they move up top. 5RAT, they're just going to start maybe pressuring that bottom tier 3 tower and force them back. You never want to allow Wildcard that entrance back into this game too by just pushing out the towers. They do reveal themselves down at the bot lane, but they don't begin the pressure. They're just allowing the creeps to do it. You have Sunlight there defending anyway, so the creeps aren't going to do really jack crap. And Wildcard, well, they won't really commit to the tier 2 top tower either. Looks like they will retreat back towards their base, predicting 5RAT might try for high ground any moment now. But 5RAT, they're just kind of hanging out in that Radiant jungle. They're not looking too interested in forcing a fight.
No, not yet. Just keeping that build up, allowing DNM to work slowly but surely into the BKB. They've got the full Aeon Disc as well for speed coming in, so going to be a lot harder to pin him down in the middle of these fights. Should be able to get some good uses out of Guardian Greaves to save the rest of his team, even if he is jumped up. And should be able to get that Heaven's Halberd off to hold Arc back as well, which is really big key. If you can disarm Arc, it does become really easy to kite around here.
5RAT going to start moving in. Speed will show himself, but he's got to be so careful. He cannot afford to die first. He's one of those guys, they just need to survive in the fights. Arrow, oh, it's going to land. Do they capitalize? No, they don't trust. They don't trust their instincts here. And in they go, Sammy. What?
Huh.
I was about to say, what is that? And I'm still going to say it. What was that?
Maybe you didn't expect the rest of the team to be there.
Well, why not jump the Death Prophet then?
Yeah, maybe just wanting to de-ward, maybe hoping that they were standing on the lower side of that triangle area, but does get punished. Good vision out from 5RAT, of course, holding that area to kind of punish. Not the biggest kill in the world. Respawn for Sammy's not too far off. So overall, nothing of value is really lost there, Mike, at the least.
I mean, I suppose so.
You know, it's I died, it's fine. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. Nevertheless, 20-20, 2k advantage. Though at a plus right now, giving Wildcard 65% win probability here in this game, number 2. Again, they've been stuck on their side of the map for quite a while, in fact. D-Ward is out. Arc, he's going to jump in. He'd love to start on Kits, but the 4 staffs make it very hard. Moonlight Shadow was popped. They want to try and get something out of this. Keep in mind, Roshan is up in 45 seconds, and what is it, John?
Wait.
Kits, he found Samson. The buyback is there. Skewer's not going to be out. Kits, he got the BKB off in time, but Babbage, he will do the same. They will move on to that Tiny. Shards will block the way as well. Kits, looking for a 4-staff, will find it. You're about to point something out.
Yes. 5RATFORCESTAFF will have 5 4-staffs. Very soon. They're only lacking it on Kits, really. But they're going to have it. I mean, Albino Zebra's going into one. You have one in Speed. You have one on Staminin. You have one on DNM. It's only really Kits not in that team spirit. Honestly, 5 4-staffs here is pretty good because you're up against the Ursa.
Come on, Kits.
You're up against all of this mobility. You kind of just want to kite them around. So Kits could just go for that revolutionary 4-staff Tiny, which really isn't too bad. In this game, particularly, not too bad.
Do it for the brand, Kits. You've got to do it. Kits, speaking of the devil, he may get punished for not going for 4-staff here, John. Getting caught out. He does have his team around him, but there's your 4-staff. He's facing the wrong way. Skewer him up. Take him out. That's what you get. Still, Sammy is going to die back immediately. DNM will take him down. In goes Speed now, chasing down the Ursa. Arc Enrages up and will run. Meanwhile, Sunlight will skewer them back a little bit, but DNM is happy to get right to work. Still a nice lift back from Flea. Will save the day. ForceStaff's away. Glimmer Cape. Sunlight still glaping it up. Will not make it out. 2 for the price of 1, I believe it was. At the very least, they do force the buyback of kits. Only problem for Wildcard is Roshan is now available.
Yeah, that's going to compensate for that buyback on kits. And we'll see if 5RAT can actually go on to high ground without dying this time, because that's been the big thing that just punishes them. They go for Aegis, they find Aegis, they go high ground, they dive a bit behind the racks, and then Sunlight makes work happen. He has buyback, his respawn, probably 30 seconds left when the Roche falls. They could try to hold out and going to the high ground. They do give DNM the Aegis though, so wanting that security on the Lina once more. We'll see. This is where we've seen 5RAT over and over again have this position to push mid-high ground, and they get punished. Just because Sunlight's been doing a fantastic job to enable Arc to do the damage he needs to. So we'll see what the play is for 5RAT.
You would have loved that the refresher shard as well on Sunlight.
Oh yeah.
Such a shame. Goes to Speed instead, and well, Speed naturally going to be a very happy boy now with Cheese up and a refresher shard up. Going into the Shivers guards next. And well, 5RAT, they're back in the game. 51% is the win probability now for Wildcard. 5RAT 49%. In fact, now it's an equal 50-50.
That's what we love to see. You know, this match again, we were talking in the green room that it's probably the more even match we'll see here. And it has been. I think there's been a lot of up and downs for both teams in this series so far. Again, they've been finding openings from each other. You can see how closely matched they truly are, even though the odds, again, favor 5RAT just a tad bit. But they've both got ways to play. Still, interesting position, Wildcard, trying to hold a high ground for a fight here in the triangle.
They absolutely are. 5RAT, well, Speed will cop an arrow to the knee. In goes Kids. Nice toss back onto Sammy, and that's him gone. But Sunlight, a very nice horn toss skewer back. Do they have an RP? They do. It's connected on 2 of them. But where's the damage output? It's coming. But no, the snowball back away. Babbage dragged Arc out of there. I suppose they decided the fight wasn't worth it. It didn't look that bad, though.
Yeah, not the worst thing. Yeah, they forced the cheese out from DNM. He could have fallen, but heads up, uses of spells, Albino Zebra blinking in with the overgrowth. That did save, because they weren't quite next to the Lina there. They figured maybe in that time span when the stuns did fade on DNM was a bit too risky. Opening for the high ground here on the side of 5RAT. Immediate refresh out from Speed for the EXO. He's going to have that again to melt her in. They're going for top, trying to clear the tier 3. They've got 2 siege creeps as well. There is still a buyback here on Sunlight, but he doesn't have the RP anymore to commit. It's a lot tougher to look for that opening here.
Absolutely. 5RAT moving into that top lane of Barracks. No problems this time around. Sunlight was the issue all along. Secondary racks to come here for 5RATFORCESTAFF and Wildcard. All they can do is just throw arrows here at Speed, but the Ghost is doing all the work anyway. Gotta be a secondary racks gone. It seems like 5RAT, they're not going to stick around for the third. They won't get greedy. They'll be happy with the progress they've made. They'll come back later on. And for Wildcard, well, they've got to find a way to come back in this game now, because it is well and truly back the way of 5RATFORCESTAFF. And to make matters worse, DNM's going to find a double damage room.
Ah, yes. Gaben's Blessing coming out onto DNM. Still has Aegis for a minute 40, so they could actually try to commit here. Full Silver Edge now up and running as well. A lot more damage coming out on DNM. I would still love to see Kits go for a 4-staff. You know, stay in the team. 5RATs, 4-staff.
I mean, he could just buy one out. Hold on a minute. Sunlight, Leipnir, gonna lock him down. Mystic Flare, not so much. Sunlight, oh yeah, he's gonna proc the Maelstrom. Of course he is. Well, of course he is.
You can try running, not against the Lina. How much damage he does. Man, it's always. I don't know how to feel when you die like that. I guess if you're the guy who gets the projectiles out, you're happy. If you're the Magnets, if you're Sunlight, you're just like, well, I tried. I tried.
What can you do? It happens. So the Vice now up on Speed, or at least on the Courier coming out, so he decided to go to to the side device over the Shiver's Guard. More disable on the side of 5RAT now. Looking to try and go high ground for that final lane of barracks, but again, unwilling to risk it. Age is going to expire in 30 seconds, so DNM might just let that one go. I'm not sure if Sammy's apologizing to his team or the enemy team at this point with that voice line.
Yeah, it's been a bit rocky. Do love to see full Ags up on kits. So he has the tree volley ready, and he can hit as far as the Lina can. Always nice to see that.
Excellent.
Very balanced. No big crit just yet. You know, kits needs that Daedalus up and running for that to truly reach its peak effectiveness. And you do have the full Ags now for Babitic. So you do have a relocation spell outside of just RP and skewer back. You can kind of catch DNM now. And that is going to be a bit scary. He does have the BKB, but he might not be prepared for the Ags timing here coming out from Babitic. That could throw them off guard from 5RATFORCESTAFF.
Well, here we go. 5-man smoke up Wildcard. Which way are they going to head? They'll head back into their own triangle. So they're kind of going the wrong way if they want to fight. They may just want to try and secure some farm here. It seems like that's exactly what they'll do. Push out some lanes. You could maybe find Stominant on the high ground, but not quite. He does blink away. Meanwhile, mid, Sammy is in the middle of nowhere, getting some wards down. Moonlight Shadow pop, but there's your tree volley, 4-star. In fact, Overgrowth gonna hold down a couple thanks to Flea. They've got speed. In goes the Ursa, the RP. It's gonna catch a couple of them, but do they have the damage output? He'll chase down DNM, and there's your bash out. He's got the Lina. And the kick away. DNM's going nowhere but down. He has to fight. Tree volleys though.
Arc?
They're coming
He's not
in.
safe?
Arc. He is not safe at all. He's caught out and he is gone. Buyback immediate from DNM. They want to put a lid on this game. Babitic is fine to TP away, but Wildcard, they are going to have to buy back if they want to defend.
This is pretty risky coming out from 5RAT, having DNM buy back to try to siege, but he is key in this siege. No EXO as well to play with. They have to rely on DNM's damage.
No. He tried to get a kick off, but the Hex is there. The buybacks are going to force back 5RAT4-staff, giving plenty more time for kids to finish the 5-4-staff strategy. He's still not going for it. Very upsetting here from the Tiny.
I mean, it's the 4-staff play saving them.
Yeah.
Like, it's just been throwing them around, forcing Wildcard to chase deeper and deeper, kiting them around, kiting Arc around. So I really wouldn't mind that. They focus really hard on killing off DNM, but you have no answers for speed. Like, this guy is just too tanky, and once he has the blink up, he can just jump on top of you and get that instant Hex off. Albino Zebra. Oh!
Jumps in. He wants to try and go for something here. So will Kids, but they're going to lose Albino straight off the bat. Still Babitic almost going down to DNM. Should eventually drop and does, but gets a Warrior's Punch off first. Now the skewer back right into the loving arms of Arc, but can he hold them down? The 4-staffs are just too much to deal with for this Ursa.
Oh, God.
And now the fear is there. Arc has died back. That's got to be it. GG surely has to be called. They are still trying. Kids has been RP, but they call it. They cannot fight back. There's no damage left. And what a game it was. 5RAT4-staff having a comeback here in this game number 2. And that does mean we get another game 3. This time between Wildcard and, of course, 5RAT4-staff. You love to see it.
Yeah, dude.